The First Coast's most accurate forecast from the First Coast News Weather Team, certified by Weather Rate, sponsored by AC Designs.
Another weekend has come and gone, folks, and we are back to the work week here. Welcome in. I'm meteorologist Ross Mumal here on First Coast News Plus. It's been a pretty nice start to the work week. Yes, it has been warm. Temperatures have been in the low 90s, but no storms out there here this afternoon, and that's really going to continue into this evening. We got a real nice field of cumulus clouds, or a cumulus field, so to speak, across much of northern Florida into Georgia and even Alabama there. Incredible high pressure is in place, not only over us, but to our north, and that's really limiting that cloud development. So you often hear the term fair weather cumulus clouds. That's very much what we are seeing here today. And the sea breeze pushing those clouds much further inland now, so any storm chances well west of I-95 and really out closer towards the I-75 corridor and the Gulf Coast here through the rest of this evening. You'll notice that a little bit of some rain and even a few flashes of lightning well out towards Steinhatchee and, out in the Gulf Coast region, so to speak, even west of Gainesville, but nothing to really be concerned about locally across the First Coast when we're talking about thunderstorms. Now, the heat, also a huge story, not only here at home, but really across the eastern two-thirds of the country. The southern plains, the Mississippi River Valley, upper Midwest, Great Lakes, Mid-Atlantic, all experiencing incredible levels of heat. It's 93 degrees in both Topeka and Chicago, both of which are warmer than here. So kind of hard to believe Chicago is currently warmer than both Jacksonville and Miami. You factor in the humidity. It's not just hot, but it's also very humid. Feels like 102 in Little Rock, 102 in Topeka as well. A real feel of 99 in New York City up there in the Big Apple. So because of that reason, there's a multitude of heat advisories and extreme heat warnings in effect all across the Great Lakes region, upper Midwest, and up and down the eastern seaboard. So really from Wilmington, North Carolina, up through Virginia, D.C., Baltimore, Philly, New York, Boston, all under those extreme heat warnings right now. So a very significant heat event for many folks across the country. Why is that? Well, there's really just this huge heat dome of high pressure over the eastern two-thirds and especially over the eastern and Atlantic seaboard here right now. You can pretty much almost see it on radar where that jet stream is currently set up. So it digs into the southwestern part of the U.S., starts its kind of northeast trajectory up through the Texas and Oklahoma panhandle, up across the really western half of Kansas, through the breadbasket of the U.S., up into Canada, and then begins to loop around Quebec, Halifax, and is actually looping back down toward us, which is why we are experiencing that easterly onshore flow here today, kind of pushing that sea breeze even further inland and keeping us dry for the time being. So yes, while we are hot, they are experiencing extreme heat, that high pressure bringing them the heat and us the dry weather here. And this is another way to look at it. Here, the jet stream is actually depicted. You can see it arcing up across the northern plains, upper Midwest, and into Canada, keeping that heat dome in place not only through today, but for a large portion of this week. It's really not going to start to break down and lessen a little bit until really Friday and then into this coming weekend. Things flatten out a little bit, and some of those folks further up to the north will get some relief. But here closer to home, temperatures pretty close to what we've seen here over the last couple of days, and especially this weekend. Upper 80s, low 90s, thanks to that sea breeze working in, although it might be 88 degrees in Mayport. I believe that's what it was, right? Okay, 90 degrees in Mayport. You factor in the humidity, it feels 10 degrees warmer than that. A real feel of 100 currently at Mayport. So it is still a very, very steamy afternoon out there across the First Coast. You can see the winds, though, almost all of them, showing that easterly direction. So we've had some wind gusts upwards of about 20 miles per hour in a few locations, but generally speaking, not too bad of a way to start your work week here. I talked about that cumulus cloud field and how there really wasn't too much vertical development thanks to that sinking air from the high pressure. Our time lapse showing that perfectly here today, just kind of bubbling up a little bit, but not too worrisome out there at all. Beaches also look very, very nice. Crystal clear blue waters out there, looking like the Bahamas a little bit. Sky is blue, ocean is blue. Nice evening out there to maybe go for a sunset walk, or perhaps head over to Daly's place. We got a big rock concert going on over there at 7 o'clock tonight. Avril Lavigne with guest Simple Plan taking place. It's going to be a warm, muggy evening out there. Still temperatures in the upper 80s by the time the show kicks off with Simple Plan at 7, but still going to be feeling like the low 90s up until about the time the sun sets at what I believe is 8:33. And then temperatures will begin to taper off a little bit into the upper 80s and eventually, or lower 80s and upper 70s there later on tonight. But good weather, just warm for the Avril Lavigne concert over at Daly's Place this evening. Tomorrow, much of the same thing. It is going to be a very hot, sunny day, temperatures in the mid-90s. Best chance for rain yet again. Going to be much further inland, out towards the I-75 corridor. And really, we'll be watching for just a few pop-up showers, maybe a few rumbles of thunder across inland southeast Georgia. So really the western parts of the Okefenokee Swamp, the Suwannee Valley, and then out towards the Gulf Coast there tomorrow afternoon. So here's what models are trying to depict for you. Not a whole lot of moisture in place. The dew points themselves are a little bit lower at the surface. And then also in the mid-levels, a pretty significant amount of dry air in place. So things not nearly as kind of moist and wet within the atmosphere as we've seen over the past couple of weeks. So because of that and the high pressure in place, really not expecting all that much with regards to rain chances for your Tuesday. Now, Wednesday, going to be a little bit of an interesting day, a little bit of a different story here. Still very warm. We're expecting temperatures in the mid-90s, but we do have a chance for some morning showers and then actually some isolated strong to, if not severe, thunderstorms by the late afternoon and early evening. All of us across the First Coast are included in a level 1 out of 5 marginal risk for severe weather there on Wednesday. We could be talking about some isolated wind gusts of 50 to 60 miles per hour. Some small hail could be possible. Anywhere from penny to quarter-sized hail will be a possibility, and a few of those isolated stronger thunderstorms. And then, of course, locally heavy rainfall. Now, why is this? Because really, we're still going to have pretty strong easterly flow. You would think most of the storm chances are still going to stay well off to the west. Well, actually, in the upper levels of the atmosphere, so we're talking closer to the jet stream, there is an upper level low. So you can see those upper level winds depicted on here kind of circulating around that upper level low just off to our east in the Atlantic. That is expected to slide over toward us by Wednesday afternoon and evening. Those kind of greenish, yellowish colors, that is kind of just the energy being brought on shore here. And that is going to help give some extra lift and enhance some chances for some thunderstorms throughout the day on Wednesday. So here's a good way to show it. Wednesday morning, some light rain for the most part, kind of streaming in on shore, almost like in a nor'easter sense, so to speak. We'll get a break in the day, so midday looks a little bit drier, and then as we reach the peak heating and some of those waves of energy come in through the afternoon and evening, we'll get another chance, not only for rain, but potentially some stronger thunderstorms. This latest model run not showing it nearly as strongly. There is going to be some drier air aloft, which, although it may limit the amount of storms, if the storms kind of break through that dry layer of air, that's when you're really going to get those strong wind gusts and that chance for some small hail as well. So it's not a huge risk of severe weather, but it certainly will be a little bit higher than what we've seen over the past 4 or 5 days. So something to watch there for on Wednesday. Thursday, that upper level low still kind of hanging around. It's going to keep bringing on some onshore waves of energy here. So yes, there will be a little bit of some rain, but primarily across more inland locations there on Thursday. And then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, so Friday and into the weekend, we are returning much more so to a pretty typical like summertime pattern. The upper level low is in place, but we're going to get a little bit more of a southwesterly flow, so that's going to help to pin the sea breeze back a little bit closer to the I-95 corridor in Jacksonville. So over the past several days, we've seen the sea breeze collisions, when they have occurred, much further west. We are going to return to those sea breeze collisions occurring closer to the Jacksonville metro. So because of that, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we're talking about a 60% chance or coverage for some of those rain and thunderstorms there each of those days. Oh, and I guess the data isn't going to come in now since it's after 4 o'clock. I was really just trying to show the Jacksonville airport itself is now well over 2 inches below average for this time of the year, or for this month, I should say. So although some places have received a locally heavy rainfall within the past 2 weeks, your backyard might be one of those places that is looking good with regards to rain. There are many places that have not, specifically the northern part of Duval County, right there by the airport, very dry. So with the overall drier pattern the next day or two, we're going to continue to watch to see if the drought conditions continue to worsen a little bit more here. Also, big update in the tropics. You can kind of see that swirl up into the northern Atlantic there, almost due east from New York. That is a system that the National Hurricane Center is watching, now giving it a medium chance of formation within the next 48 hours. But it's going to be a fish storm. No concern to any of us here in Florida or Southeast Georgia or on the First Coast. So otherwise, the tropics remain quiet, waiting for those storms to begin to increase by Wednesday and continuing then into this coming weekend. Take care, folks.